Welcome to the buy list. This is episode 28.
This is not financial advice. This is cardboard. I'm getting worse. I need to retire.
Yeah. You gotta tighten up those skills, man. So, how's it going, Nate?
Good. How are you?
Good. So, we're sitting here this is probably pre-release weekend. We're a week out from Dusk Till Dawn. Yeah, it's exciting time. The set's kind of growing on me a little bit the more I look at it. There's a lot of cool stuff in there. Just like more and more stuff keeps trickling out about it. So yeah,
definitely the ebbs and flows with this set. I think there's a lot of like initial hype, and then like as we started to see some spoilers, people were like kind of disappointed. And now that we've like seen everything, people are like, but we're getting new cards.
Mm-hmm.
I like new cards.
Yeah.
And like I've played with like some of the new cards, and it definitely has reshaped those heroes. And really transformed some of their play styles in really like unique and interesting ways. So I think that it actually is like a really well designed set. So good job, LSS Brian Gottlieb.
Yeah.
There's some things that I'm going to take issue with. Morlock Hill, looking at you.
Yeah, for sure.
I think that I am really excited to open this set. I do have a couple issues with like the non-foil EA reprints.
Yeah, that
I
ain't
don't
it, dog.
that just it kind of feels forced and like awkward in the set. The Iris of Reality reprint as the Team Covenant buy a box promo. That feels really weird.
Yeah.
Like as a collector, like I literally just picked up my Cold Foil Iris and I'm like,
yeah,
you gonna do me like that?
Yeah.
Because there's gonna be 1 billion of those irises.
Yeah. I mean, yeah. Yeah, a
It
lot, because it's per box, right? So it's
it's
like,
per
yikes.
box. Yeah. So you order a case, you're getting 4 of those bad boys. Like you're gonna be using those as Kleenexes. So like there's just too many. That's like way too many for a weapon too. Like
Yeah.
that's just
I
like
also think that the buy a box promos, one of the things that I was like most excited about, because I don't know if I mentioned it on here before, but I am collecting all rainbow foils for Runeblade, Shadow Runeblades. And so I was like pretty pumped to get like some Shadow buy a box promos, and it was slightly a disappointment to see that it's just the bannerets and it's 3 of them, and
yeah.
it's like, man, I thought you'd do half and half, give Shadow Boys, give the Shadow Boys some love too, please.
Yeah. I
So
think that it's also like a really feels bad that they printed them as Majestics in their buy a box promos. Or maybe they're calling the Majestics, or maybe are like the calling participation ones, but
yeah,
they've never done that before, and that just kind of like really hampers the value on those Majestics because you can basically get them for signing up for an event.
yeah,
So it's a weird place to be. It's gonna be like there's gonna be a lot of feels bad opening some of these boxes because there's gonna be like weird cards that don't belong in the set. Looking at Shapeshifter, Morlock Hill,
yeah,
and then you're gonna open these cards that like, oh, I got this as a buy a box promo for an event I'm already signed up to go to.
yeah,
So it'll be interesting, but I think they hit a lot of really good notes, but I think there's like some things they could have just executed better on.
yeah, for
Overall, I'm
sure.
super excited though.
Yeah, me too. And speaking of Majestics, let's take a look at some Majestics and kind of point out. I think we got 6 of them that we want to just point at and be like, hey, these are the Majestics to watch. Moving forward, I think there could be some value in those. So let's take a look.
Yeah. I think 5 and a bonus, Ted.
5 and a bonus. Yeah.
Nobody clicks on top 6 Majestics of a set. It's top 5 and a bonus.
Top 5 and a bonus. All right, let's take a look, Nate.
All right.
Yeah, these first 3 here have. I guess it's looking at it now. It's Runeblade and Shadow Time.
Yep.
Widespread Annihilation, yes, it's only playable, will be only playable in set, but this card is like slot in 3. Like you start building the deck with this card.
Yep.
So definitely see some value there. Yeah, really good. This banishes a card from hand, or if you're playing a hero that can't play from banish, or you know what I mean. So it's basically discarding a card. Really solid on the
Yeah.
Shadow Runeblade side.
Yep. These are also the widespreads all have the EA treatment.
Oh, nice.
So James White targeted your wallet specifically, Ted.
Yeah, yeah.
Uh,
Just
with
my
the
wallet
EA.
just screamed out in horror. Yes. Oh my god. I didn't even know that. You just surprised me with that. I did not know that was a thing. Oh god.
Yeah, the 3 extended art Majestics are the widespreads.
Nice.
So welcome to
Pain Town.
welcome to Pain Town.
Population me,
No,
bro.
yeah, like I think all the widespreads are very good.
Yeah. Hmm.
We saw with Arachne being released in Dynasty 2, a lot of the Arachne cards held a lot of value for a long time. Those were
Yeah.
the ones that held the most value because people were brand new hero. People were trying to kind of acquire the cards, and there's not a lot of things that supplement in those spots because of the brand new mechanic they're introducing. So I think all the widespreads will hold decent value. So I think that's a good call there.
Yeah. Second card here, Runic Reckoning. Card's just pretty solid, right? I think it gives you a little bit more flexibility in Viscerai. Probably maybe not in Vincent. I could see it being played in her though. It's tough to say at this point. It's so early. But Viscerai could definitely play this card. This card and beckoning. The other card I should have put them almost stacked up here, but the one that reduces attack actions by the cost of rune chance you have.
Yes, the
Beckoning the
Scolata effect.
Yeah, the Scolata
Yeah.
effect, but only for attack actions. That card I think is pretty solid too. Those could kind of stack up here together. So those are definitely a couple to watch for sure.
Yeah, I think the fact that Runic Reckoning is Runeblade only, definitely a card that it blocks 3. It's a non-attack action, which is there's not a lot of those.
Yeah.
So the fact that it's a 1 cost that does get reduced by Rune Chance. So for Viscerai and Vincent,
Hmm.
this is typically free 99, and then Briar, depending on how you're building the deck, but like this kind of can fit into the curve sometimes. You're trading essentially 1 block for 1 rune chant because typically, like if you have the blue left over, you're going rune chant sword.
Hmm.
Um, so it's definitely interesting in Briar as well, just because this is gonna be a 4 block, which there's not a lot of like. It's basically like a 4 block nimblism, which is pretty good. So
Yeah,
uh,
she's just lacking the Runeblade attack targets, I think, right? Or she has less of them than the other two.
oh
But
yeah, I can't read. You're
yeah,
right.
yeah,
Just kidding.
she
Strike all that from the record.
yeah,
Briar can't run this card.
Yeah, Briar can't run this. I was like thinking through, I'm like, what Runeblade attacks? And I was like, I don't think there is any.
No, I'm
But
high. I can't read.
yeah, she's also LL'd and unplayable, so that's okay. And then the last one, Chains of Mephistus. I guess I've been told that this is like a magic card, but essentially stopping the draw, stopping a draw, it could be pretty powerful. It is a block 3 blue. This card I think is going to be interesting to watch. I don't know if I would say that, oh man, this card's going to be value town, but like it'll be interesting to see if this card becomes playable.
Yeah, I think right. I mean, 3 block blue 0, definitely interesting to look at. I think it's definitely interesting in Vincent. Vincent does not appear to be a very fast deck, so trying to
Yeah.
slow down your opponents is something that she's going to try to do. And then this being able to reduce draws is pretty powerful, unless they can play from it depends on who you're playing against, and then getting a random card banished instead of drawn is typically not a play pattern someone wants to
Yeah.
enact. So um,
they can still play it, but you know what you're doing is you're effectively like blocking, like you're blocking out if they need a resource card off that draw.
Yeah.
You know, there's some things that are pretty prohibitive to playing it out of banish. Three of a kind, if you play this and this is out, three of a kind just becomes a dead card for those two
Yep.
turns, because you obviously can only play cards from your arsenal. So
Yep. Yeah. It's definitely interesting because it is it hits a lot of different like draw effects, and not all when you like, let's say you just play a Gorganian Tome, you're not necessarily like, ooh, I'm hoping that I'm gonna draw a card that I can play out of my banish zone, because it might just be like a resource card that you're looking for
mm,
to kind of like fix your turn. And then it's like this card is like, well, I can't even play this card because even if I get a card that I don't have the resources to even play out my turn. So it makes play people kind of play around it a little differently just because they don't know if what they want to play is off the top of the deck, but they get or pitch it. So
yep,
definitely one to look out for because it can be played in two heroes.
yep. Okay, jumping over to the last three here, Nate. Starting with Lumina Lance. This
Yep.
card is super interesting.
Yeah, this card, I cannot tell if this card's great, good, or terrible. Shout out to our boy Tall Timmy.
Yeah,
Um,
yeah.
for he told me to watch my words that
Sea
Celestial
Strike.
Cataclysm's
Yeah.
unplayable. Listen, same dude's on the art, so maybe this is unplayable too. We we don't know yet. It's basically E Strike kind of as an attack reaction, but
Yeah.
more modal, and it doesn't have to burn the whole soul like um Celestial Cataclysm does.
Yeah, yeah.
So it's
You can up to three, right? So
up to
that's pretty
3.
strong.
Yeah, and it's a block 3, which is
Yeah.
great,
Mm-hmm.
out of an attack reaction. So it's definitely one like Prism. I don't know if Prism will wanna run this, but definitely a card that Bolton is like kind of looking side-eyed at, like, how you
Yeah.
doing?
Yeah, yeah, for
Um,
sure.
but Celestial Cataclysm, great art. This art, amazing art. So like I think that this will just be a pretty valuable Majestic regardless, because like I said before, Celestial Cataclysm, not an actual castable card. Does it go in decks? Sure, sometimes. Um, but not actually playable. So who knows? Maybe just because of this art, people will want the card.
Yeah. Yeah. So the second one here, Dabble in Darkness. This one, oh man, I think this card's actually, well, I always frame everything in Runeblade light. So in Vincent, this card is tricky at best, man. This card scares me.
Unplayable. And
Yeah,
Vincent.
yeah, it's tough, right? Because Blood Debt, it doesn't allow you to play it out of the banish zone, so and it has Blood Debt, so it literally will just kill you if you accidentally banish it.
Yep.
Doesn't have go again either, which is like oof. But Levia might be looking at this card for sure.
Yeah, I think this is definitely an interesting card for Levia as just a one card hand that can turn off Blood Debt. It's a block 3 that comes in for potentially 4. But Living Legend format, Chain is still Chain is probably one of the best decks in Blitz now. This probably auto slots in the Chain and Blitz because this kind of fixes the issue of you don't have enough cards to go Unga Bunga early. And it's like this is
Mm,
basically a 4 attack draw card sometimes in Chain, which is nuts. Um,
yeah, it's maybe a short enough format to where you can just be like, oh shoot, I shackled it. Oh well. But yeah, it's still kind of you're still taking some damage off of this guy if you just shackle this, but
Chain doesn't care.
yeah,
Whatever.
yeah, you right. You don't care.
Chain, Chain will take 3 damage a turn. It's like, whatever. I'm going to take your whole hand and present 30, and I only have to do that 2 times and you die.
Yeah, valid.
So, and
Uh,
then we got the last card in the set,
dude,
or last card for
sneaky
that.
spoiler. Yeah, did not even read this card when it like popped up in my Discord. I was just like, oh yeah, generic. Okay, cool.
This card kind of has this rounds on me vibes for
Mm-hmm.
me, where it's that card that you read it, you're like, is this even good? You set it aside. You think about it some more. I don't think that card is very good. And then 3 weeks later, someone's like, "Well, you could do this with it," and you're like, "What?" And
Yeah.
then like the card is like, you're like, "Okay, I need 3 of those."
Yeah.
So I definitely think this is a card like it's very good in the Lexi. It's great into the Runeblades. People were literally playing Fog Down because they had so much PTSD from Azalea, just like 15 dominating them on repeat. Um, this card literally tells Azalea you can't dominate and you only get to do
Yeah.
one thing.
Yeah,
So
there's a couple things interesting about this card, Nate. I think first of all, it might have went under the radar a bit because the first line reads like PVE or a UPF
yep,
only. And so I'm just gonna run through what it says. So
yep,
starting with the hero on your left, each hero chooses war or peace. If they choose war, they can only act what is it? Only act the only actions they may play or activate during their next turn are weapon and attack actions. If they choose peace, the only actions they may play or activate during their next turn are non-weapon and non-attack actions. Huh. So like once you get past like the UPF text, like you make it to like the meat of the card, you're like, wait a second. So you were explaining to me too, that means you can't activate your hero because it
yes.
specifically says they can't activate.
They
So
can't
it's
activate or is it they cannot play or activate actions. So the hero text is basically turned off for heroes. So it's like you basically hit someone with a humble. So this is like applicable to Azalea, Phi, Lexi. Is
yeah,
there any other hero that I don't think any other hero has an activated ability.
yeah,
Bravo, but that's
yeah,
like less relevant in the Bravo. It does
yeah.
like keep them off dominating you, which is kind of nice. But this is also a great Icelander blue. Like it's a
Mm.
blue 0 block 3 that she can play out of Arsenal at the end of someone's turn. And then they have to make the choice at the end of their turn before they even see their next hand, whether they want to be able to play attacks or non-attack actions, which is like that's kind of a kick in the nuts.
Yeah,
Um,
yeah. This
so
card, like, I think it's easy to put into the deck, but then you really have to like find your spots. And I think this card will be super interesting going forward.
yeah, it's definitely one of those that you just I think all the Majestics that they printed in the generic slot are that kind of like you look at it and you're like,
Yeah,
all
Censor's
right.
really good too. Yeah.
Censor's a really good card. It's like bingo, but it's significantly better.
Yeah.
Um, it oh bingo, you beautiful bastard.
Yeah.
Um, it they printed a lot of cards that are a little bit more niche and have a lot more depth to them, which I do like. And I think this set will take a little bit to develop in that Majestic slot where people like kind of like see what the meta shakes out to be, and then see whether these cards are good or not. And then you'll see these cards pop off once they hit like a top 8 deck, and then it's like, oh, I'm just top 8 with 3 sensors. I better go pick up 3 copies. Like,
Yeah.
um, so it's a generic 1 cost that blocks for 3, which is pretty good. So
Yeah. I think yeah, getting back to Warmongers, I think this is a Majestic that I'll be looking at. If I don't pull them myself, I'm going to be opening some
yeah,
Dust Till Dawn for myself this time around. If I don't pull them myself, I feel like this is a Majestic that will be cheap to start and then get expensive. So I'm going to be watching. These cards are like under $5 a piece, like at launch or like a week after. I'll be scooping them for my
boobies.
playset. Yeah,
Yep.
because I think this card could push 10 if it's yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, we
Yeah.
could see
And that
that kind.
yeah. Yeah, it's definitely there's some really good cards. There's some really booty cheek Majestics in this set, but there's some really good Majestics as well.
Yeah, there's some gems out there for sure.
Yeah. 100%.
All right, Nate. I think that's gonna do it.
Yeah. Yep. We're just I don't
We're in a holding pattern, waiting for Dust Till Dawn to release.
yep.
All right.
Anything else?
Nope, that's going to do it. Please like and subscribe. It really does help. And I appreciate y'all watching, and have a good one. Peace.
Hey.